to support your chronically ill and disabled scientists. Well, hire us for a start. Hello, welcome back to Science Sundays. Let's talk about how you as employers and universities can support your chronically ill and disabled scientists. I'm going to talk about industry first and then universities. Use the time codes in the description to skip to the relevant part if you are an employer or a university staff member. You should definitely check out the whole video anyway, just in case. But while you're down there, don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe to my channel for more science and chronic illness goodness. So industry, hire us, just hire us. We've worked very hard to get our degrees. Everybody who has a degree has worked hard to get it. Not only have we had to master the science, but we've had to master our environment and our unique and challenging bodies to get there. We've worked too hard to be told that we should be taking the cures, not making the cures. We've all seen that quote about education, and it's been altered to prove various points at various stages, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to jump on this bandwagon. It goes like, what if the cure for cancer was trapped inside of the brain of somebody who can't afford an education? Which is a very valid point. But also, what if the cure for cancer was trapped inside of the brain of the person being interviewed for the role to cure cancer, but they just so happen to be in a wheelchair? They just so happen to have a chronic illness or a disability. It doesn't have to be cure for cancer. I have many thoughts on that, but that's just how the quote goes. Fill in the blanks of what you're hiring for and just think about it. Once you've hired us, look into adaptive lab equipment. You can get mechanical benches that lower with a crank or a button so that if you have somebody who uses a wheelchair, it can be adjusted to their height preferences. And you can get them so that they have plug sockets and sinks with it and drains, and it just moves and is flexible. Hearing loop systems for group work or labs that use the radio system. In the UK, we have this thing called Access to Work, which can help provide these things for you to hire disabled and chronically ill people so that we can get to work as effectively and efficiently as people who are able-bodied. If you have concerns about our disabilities, our chronic illnesses, or our possible limitations, just ask. Don't assume that it's going to be a problem and then use that to not hire us. We'd much rather you ask and then we can tell you that it's going to be fine. We will have faced more barriers than you can ever imagine. We will have thought about it, and we have many ideas on how we can adapt and overcome so we can get into that lab and do what we need to do. We are incredible at adapting, and we can transfer this skill into our research, just FYI. We'll be able to tell you how we'll go about overcoming each challenge that you can think of. Even better, you can take us to the lab and show us around, and then we can identify obstacles then and there, and we can tell you how to fix those too. We can see for ourselves what we're going to be working with, and then if it's going to be completely inaccessible for us, we can let you know, we can make the decision on that. Us as disabled people need to be the ones making the decision on access. Because in my experience, people who aren't disabled or aren't chronically ill, they don't have the best knowledge on accessibility. No offense, it's just how it is because you haven't faced it in day-to-day lives. Did you know that pavements are slanted in towards the road so that water doesn't gather and make puddles so you don't get your feet wet? Yeah, try pushing a wheelchair along that. Not fun. And it does vary from disabled person to disabled person. So somebody in a manual wheelchair might be able to pop a wheelie over a tiny little thing in the doorway, but the person in an electric wheelchair, not so much. So differently disabled people, not the same as differently abled, don't. But people that are disabled in different ways and overcome things in different ways and have different mobility aids or access needs, we all have different opinions on what is an accessible working environment. And the best thing you can do is just show us. Be understanding, patient, and flexible, as you should be with all of your employees. We may do things differently, but so long as we get it done to the correct and high standards, does it really matter how we go about it? Do the specifics matter that much? I don't mean different procedures or anything major. Let me give you an example. This photo Not very flattering, right? But I was doing important research for a research proposal for my master's degree. Most people were using computers within the lab, but my blood pressure was just not playing ball. So I went to the library and I found a space where I could lie down, and I finished my research proposal, and I did get a distinction for that piece of work. That work didn't need to be done in the lab, it was just where everybody else was doing it, and the flexibility just allowed me to complete it to the highest standard that I could. Everybody's health is subject to change, even yours. I wasn't born like this, although I mean, yes, technically I was, but my pain kind of just developed, and I developed cold urticaria at a really random age. So this flexibility will benefit all of your employees, not just those who are chronically ill or disabled. It just helps everybody produce their best work. Some advice that I'll give to both industry and universities: to just accept differences. Talk to us. Learn about our conditions. Learn about what we do to manage them. Be willing to think outside of the box, or let us think outside of the box. Don't assume that you know more about our bodies and our limitations than we do. Just know that our chronic illness or our disabilities impacts our entire life. Be compassionate about that. Now, onto universities. Just accepting differences, really, is my first point. University is a richly diverse place, so you should be doing that anyway. But also, a student that is sat in your lecture, not taking notes, looking like they're not listening, might actually be just trying to make it work in their head. They might be recording audio to type notes up later and just working on their understanding to make that process easier in the future. Listening looks different for everybody, and it's definitely worth being mindful of that. And for the love of God, don't call on us mid-lecture to explain ourselves for that, because sometimes my brain just isn't working enough to talk, but I was listening and I was understanding. If you do want to talk about it, wait until after the lecture. Maybe, you know, go, oh, Max, can I talk to you after lecture? Or send us an email saying, hey, are you okay? Check how we're doing first before jumping to the conclusion that we're just not paying attention and we're not interested and reprimanding us for that. Let us just explain ourselves first. And don't refuse to answer our questions just because we appeared not to be listening, because that's just not fair. Speaking of lecture notes, making your content readily accessible to those who haven't been in the lecture is really important. At my university, many lecturers withheld their lecture notes and their content just because you didn't turn up to the lecture, regardless of the reason. We used lecture capture, which allows you to record audio alongside your PowerPoint presentations, so it's basically like you're giving the lecture but online. It was automatically recorded, but a lot of lecturers manually went in and either stopped it from happening or stopped it from being uploaded. And it made it much harder for me as a chronically ill and disabled student to actually keep up with what was going on, because sometimes I just could not physically get out of bed to get to the lecture, and if I could get there, the pain would have been too much for me to listen and understand. Except that our attendance might be a bit lower. It's not a sign of lacking effort or passion, it's just an ableist expectation of what a person should be able to do. Sometimes we just can't overcome these things. If I have an appointment with a specialist, I'm going. That's just it, I'm going. As we've seen, I've waited since February, and it's now September, for an appointment with an allergist, and I still don't have that appointment. They are notoriously hard to get an appointment with. I can't miss it for your ego. Chronic illness and disability affects our entire lives. Having an expectation for us to just overcome this all of the time is too much. It's just beyond our control too. Finally, put in the work and find out what support is available to your students, regardless of disability or anything. Find out what support staff are going to be available for your chronically ill and disabled students that are really struggling. Staff that can put in extra support measures to get them through it, so that they can get things like extra exam time if they struggle with hand pain or dyslexia, and access so that if they are late to a session, you can't throw them out, because sometimes pushing a wheelchair up a massive hill takes a bit longer than expected, especially when your fingers dislocate. We often need you to help us out and signpost us to the right people that can help us, especially if it's something that you as a staff member can't help with. So there are things like disabled students officers, you've got a student union with hopefully full-time members of staff as well as unpaid part-time officers. We had our equality and diversity officers, so we had things like gender, sexuality, disability, and they are also very good at signposting to the university's support services which could benefit you. But also you do have student support services which are run through universities, hopefully if you go to a good one. They also have their own disabled student officers, but they are staff members. Student support that know extra financing options for you because disability can be very expensive. There are so many staff members that are trained to help disabled and chronically ill students, and you as a staff member should know who they are and how you can get access to them. I think that's it. I hope this has helped you learn how to support your chronically ill and disabled scientists. Let me know in the comments if I've missed anything, but if I haven't, give me a like, and while you're down there, subscribe to my channel for more science videos and more about chronic illness and disability, as well as hearing loss, queerness, cats, being allergic to cold, all of that lovely jazz, and ring that notification bell so you get notified every single time I post a new video. Videos go up every Saturday at 6 PM UK time, with at least one bonus video every single month. Apart from this month, which is Science Month on my channel, and I'm doing Science Sundays, so you're getting a bonus video every single Sunday too. See ya!